All right, guys, I have another video on the Bissell Proheat Pet Revolution. The difference between the Bissell Proheat Pet Revolution and the Bissell Revolution, two things. You got a clean shot on the side here. You have a different kind of size and belt for the front, okay? The Revolution, see like how this, you could just pop out. All right, the other one don't. You can't just, lift this off on the Bissell Revolution. So the Revolution Pro Pet has a few more advantages and things like that. But anyway, this particular video is gonna troubleshoot the handle issues and another way to test your pump, your spray. The spray problems. All right, so let's get started. All right, I'm gonna put this back and then I'm gonna show you how to, when the machine comes in a box, they're separate, right? All these things are separate. The handle's separate, the tank, etc. right? You take it out the box and now you have to install your handle. Getting it out is a whole nother thing, so I'm gonna show you how to do that. Okay, so let's install it the way we would when we first set the machine up. Okay, and then we're gonna reverse the process, okay? All right, so this snaps in on the side, snaps in on the side here. We put our screw in the back. Okay, good. All right, so now someone had messaged me about a problem they had with the moment they put the tank on the machine, the water just spewed out. Okay, now there's a couple of things that can cause that. Let's start with the first. Let's assume that the first answer is that your trigger somehow is stuck in the spray mode. All right, what's happening is with this trigger, there's a rod in here, and that rod is pushing down on a reservoir. It's a little circular kind of rubber mechanism, and you push down, and what it's doing is releasing the water out. The moment you put this tank on your auto feeder, what happened is a little blocker that's in the tank that stopped the water from coming out, and the moment you put it on, it releases the blocker, so now the water can just flow down. Okay, that's all that happens. So if you notice, when you stick your finger in here, the water will spew out. Okay, so all you're doing is you're resting it on here. Okay, it tells the tank to release the water, but the auto feeder is not releasing the water until you press the trigger, and then when you press the trigger, the gravity just takes the water down. I hope that explains that, right? So let's say you're wondering, hey man, is my trigger stuck in spray mode? I mean, what do I do, right? So number one, if you don't feel any tension here, right? Let's say your trigger looks like this. That means it's definitely stuck in spray, right? But let's say you feel no tension. It's just like super loose, okay? Yes, it could be stuck, but most likely the problem is you're not spraying. If this is really loose and there's no tension, then you would need to replace the handle, because finding this part is very difficult, okay? So you may have to replace that handle. And if you have to replace the handle, or if you want to test the spray, what do, right? You remove the screw, okay? Then I'm going to use you can use a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver like this. I'm using this little tool here, okay? And in the back, there are slots where those clips snapped into. I'm going to stick it in the back here and just try to pop that out, okay? Okay. Okay. Now, if you can't get it from the back, if it's too difficult, you can also do the front like this. Just ride it up the side, up the sleeve, and pop it. Okay. All right. But I always try the back first, and then if I can't get it to the back, then I'll go to the front. Keep your mind clean. All right. So now I'm gonna put the screws there. I don't want to lose the screw. Okay. All right, here we go. So now, some of these machines, and not, when I say some, I'm not talking Bissell Proheat exactly. There are machines that you would have to, some Bissells, you have to push the button and then release the handle. This particular one, and I think I told the gentleman when I was typing the response that you have to push it in, and I was mistaken. This one, you pop it out and the handle just comes right out. And sometimes this will pop up with it, like, right? And sometimes not, but it comes right out, all right? So, here we go. Let's get started. Oh, let me get past that first. Let me get past that first hurdle so it can go all the way down. All right, here we go. Here we go. We're good now. We're back. All right. So what you do is you get something blunt, like a pen or something like that. I probably wouldn't use a screwdriver. I don't want to break the rubber. So you can get something like a pencil, or something that has a surface like that. And if you press down on that circle, okay, that's releasing the water. Okay, so you test it out. Get a cup of water, pour it in the auto receiver, turn the machine on, and then press that button, see if it sprayed the water out. Or if you're sure your tank is doing its job, all right, the tank is all good, and don't put any boiling water. It'll warp the tank, and then it'll mess the whole thing up. Push this down, test your spray, turn the machine on with water in it, and see if it releases. All right, then you can identify that, hey, my problem is definitely this. Now here's what happens inside. If you look inside there, right, you see this little thing? I'm gonna put my finger right here. Now watch it force see that? That's what it's doing, is just adding pressure to that. The same thing you're doing with the pen is doing it, but just the trigger is doing it. And if the trigger's not doing its job, if it's not pushing, then that could be it, or it could be stuck in that mode right there. Okay? All right. So, a little troubleshooting issue, man. That's, little things like that. Now, there's one more thing about that auto receiver. I used to have to replace a lot of them on the Bissell, the 2X, the Proheat 2X, right? And it has two auto receivers, one in the front for the main dirty water, clean water tank, and the one in the back for the solution. And some people will put the solution in or put the tank in, and the water, just the moment you put it in, the water spread. That means the bottom of the auto receiver, the seal was broken, okay? So you just had to replace the auto receiver. This one is a bit more difficult. I doubt you'll even find the auto receiver in the schematics for sale on this one. I have to double check that, but the last time I checked, it wasn't there. Okay, so yeah, so if that's the problem on this, okay, wish I had like the answer for you. Hopefully it's still on the warranty. Take it to a shop and they'll get you squared away. But that's just a way to troubleshoot your handle. The handle is the problem. Also, this could be stuck, this could be stuck in down, and just see if you don't feel that spring action popping up every time you push, then that could be it. Then also, because it wouldn't be the hose, because in order for the water to even make it down here, right, this has to be engaged to release the water in the first place. So I wouldn't even assume that the hose is punctured down here, because it all has to happen here first. The trigger has to push down the mechanism releases the water. Unless the mechanism itself is broken. Okay? I would assume that first. If all these check out, if this is working, if this is not stuck on down, and the moment I put my tank on, the water is gushing out, that means the mechanism that holds the water at bay until it's pressed, that's broken. Okay, and that's what the problem would be. All right, so I hope this helped you guys. All right, any more questions, I'll do my best to answer and get back. And if I take a while to answer, it's only because, man, there are times I'm in grind mode and I'm just working, trying to get stuff done, and I didn't even look at the responses until a week later. Okay, so bear with me on that one. Okay, You put this back, put this back, put this back. Okay, good. And voila! Talk to you next time.